This is the ER channel, Empires and Revolution. The date is the 28th of June, 1706. The War of the Spanish Succession has been raging for several years now. This is a major international struggle to decide who will be the King of Spain, the Bourbon successor, Philip V, a grandson of the French King, Louis XIV, or the Habsburg candidate, the Archduke Charles. It is also a major conflict to decide the balance of power in Europe and around the world, with fighting taking place not only in Europe but also in North America and other places. In many ways, it is the first real world war. Philip, of course, is supported by his grandfather, Louis XIV of France, and most of Spain, while Archduke Charles's claim is pressed by the Grand Alliance of Britain, Austria, Holland, Portugal, and some other states. But on this day, the 28th of June, 1706, the Portuguese army, having marched 500 kilometers, has taken the largely undefended city of Madrid. Yes, the Spanish capital is now under occupation. The Spanish king and army, along with his French allies, have been busy elsewhere, ineffectively trying to recapture Barcelona from the Allies. This has left the door open on the west, and the Portuguese army, supported by a British and Dutch contingent and led by the Marquis of Minas, has seized the chance. In fact, this could be the decisive moment of the war. With the Spanish capital under their control, the Allies can now proclaim their candidate King of Spain and its vast empire. This will prevent Louis XIV from dominating Europe and potentially open up enormous business opportunities for the British and the Dutch. But the Bourbons are not down and out yet. They have a secret weapon, a bioweapon in fact, namely the diseased whores of Madrid. Fired by the same patriotism that most Spaniards feel at the occupation of their capital, these ladies of the night, these denizens of the darkness, these foot soldiers of Aphrodite, mobilize their most potent resources and deadly weapons and head off to the Portuguese camp. Respectable history will tell you of this duke or king and that battle or siege, but will often pass over the hard scrabble reality of war, the disease and pestilence, famine and rape that marches in the train of most great armies and sits at the elbow of generals and kings. Sources are hard to come by, but they exist. Isaac Disraeli, the father of future British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, and the descendant of a long line of Spanish Jews, is well acquainted with the history of the Iberian Peninsula and the peculiar means by which Madrid was liberated from its Portuguese conquerors. Quote, "War has corrupted the morals of the people and has occasioned them to form horrible ideas of virtue. When the Portuguese attacked Madrid in the reign of Philip V, the courtesans of that city were desirous of displaying their patriotic zeal. Those who were most convinced of the envenomed state of their bodies perfumed themselves and went by night to the camp of the enemy." End quote. Yes, the most desperate and syphilitic prostitutes of Madrid threw themselves on the Portuguese army like kamikaze warriors of clap. One can only assume that the greater moral fibre of the British and Dutch troops protected them from this horrendous fate, for horrendous it truly was. Disraeli describes the outcome. Quote, "The consequence was that in less than 3 weeks there were more than 6,000 Portuguese disabled with venereal maladies, and the greater part died." End quote. Given that the total strength of the occupying army was 14,000 Portuguese and 4,200 Anglo-Dutch troops, this was a major depletion of fighting strength. In fact, It amounted to a third of the army, the kind of loss that could be expected in a particularly violent battle. Such losses, combined with uprisings in the countryside and the manoeuvring of a small Franco-Spanish force led by the Duke of Berwick, a bastard son of the deposed British King James II, led the Marquis of Minas to pull back his pox-ridden and weakened army after a 40-day occupation of the Spanish capital. But the whores of Madrid were not the only whores in this story. The Duke of Berwick, one of the most talented generals in the French service, was also this son of a royal whore, namely Arabella Churchill, from a family long since famous for royal whores, the Spencer Churchills. Yes, the same family that gave Diana, Princess of Wales and Queen of the Tabloids, to the world.